In January 2023, eShard released esReven 2023.01. With this version came the first knowledge modules, as we aim to offer both the tool and the know-how necessary to do advanced reverse engineering. In this video, we'll explain what esReven's knowledge modules are and what they're for. The knowledge modules are a great way to discover various esReven use cases and techniques, and learn product expertise as you need it, be it when doing vulnerability research or advanced malware analysis. They go beyond the initial training you can get from eShard and are meant to be the best equivalent to having a human expert available on demand to help you use esReven day to day. The modules consist of sets of notebooks. In general, a notebook is a self-contained chunk of hybrid documentation where we can mix explanations with supporting code, and sometimes we even throw in some pre-recorded trace so that you can start hacking right away and experiment with what you're reading. We are continuously adding more notebooks to all modules, covering more use cases and usage. As of today, notebooks are segmented into 3 modules. The first one is use cases, or in general, write-ups, to help you discover how the tool can be used. The second is advanced usage and how-tos, in which we guide you through some advanced use cases that you will no doubt want to target at one point. And finally, the third one is applied algorithms and tools, and they leverage the Python API to further extend what you can do with esReven. So let's take a look at some of them. So first we have use cases. They range from focused demonstrations to full-blown write-ups of real-world situations. They're a great way to discover more about esReven, and not from the point of view of which feature does what, but rather of what you can achieve with it and how, and all the diverse situations where it's useful and why. For example, here we're looking at the analysis of a vulnerability in Chrome. So we have first the full root cause analysis, starting from the crash, finding the crash in the trace, up to identifying the bug's nature and going through all the steps in doing so. We explain how to get there with esReven features via the GUI or even with relevant code snippets to run. We even provide a pre-recorded trace so that you can super easily follow along as you're reading it without setting up anything. All you have to do is import that trace in your esReven instance. But that's not all. We also explain how to prepare the environment, the virtual environment for you to make the recording and how to make that recording. For instance, in that case here, where to hook up in Chrome so that you ensure that you get a short trace and how to wait for the bug to occur. All these practical details that really matter when you work on a case. So in the end, not only do you get an influx of interesting bugs and situations for you to learn about, but you learn how to use esReven's feature towards specific goals, and you have a complete picture of how to record and work on these bugs or other cases like it. So next we have advanced usage and how-tos, and this time the purpose is different. We want to connect the intent of the reverse engineer that has a specific goal in mind to a series of steps to take in esReven in order to get there. And more often than not, these steps will involve knowledge or maybe tools that aren't specific to esReven, but rather sit at its periphery. So once again, let's look at an example. Here we're looking at the advanced recording section where multiple recording strategies are offered to cover a large number of cases. Each of these strategies describe a common recording situation, what the challenges are, and the approach we can take. Then we get to the practical details of how to implement that approach in various contexts. Maybe we want to trigger the recording on a file being read or on an incoming packet. And finally, to illustrate it all, the notebook ends with a detailed practical example that the user can reproduce. This module also contains how-tos that are more focused on practical operation that are commonly needed and often are referenced throughout the module. For instance, here, all the ways to catch the end of a process, again, with actionable information and code samples that you can start from when working on your own case. So this module is a great way to build your expertise of the product through experience while working on your own cases. And finally, we have applied algorithms and tools. This is a set of libraries and tools built on top of esReven's API that you can use in your analysis. In general, they're about identifying and extracting information from the trace and presenting it in a way that's usable and readable, like in this example where we show activity related to disk file accesses made by one or multiple processes. And in this case, this information is found by analyzing low-level API calls. So for each tool, you get a GUI like this one to run easily on your scenarios. You get also the corresponding library that this is built on, so you can leverage that same information but within your own scripts. And finally, you get a description of the approach taken by the library. So you can learn from it, or you can extend it, or even apply similar approaches in your own tooling. So by now you should have a good view of how knowledge modules help you solve your reverse engineering puzzles. They help you grow your esReven's expertise, discover specific techniques, and guide you through the real-world usage of the tool. And more importantly, they always encourage you to put that newly acquired knowledge into practice and build upon it. Thank you for watching this video.